the social sector is something that has been taken for granted in Nigeria. We have a lot of people operating in that sector, yet we are all working in different tangents. It's very unfortunate because we have a tool that can truly solve a lot of social problems. This series we are about to start today is to begin a conversation amongst people that are operating in that field so that we can together map out a roadmap that hopefully will help not just we, the participants in that sector, but the nation at large. And it's on that note that I would like to welcome you most sincerely. The first panel, may you please come and just take your seats.
The topic for this session is looking at the contributions of the social sector to national development. But I would like to ask Andy, what is the social sector really?
Okay, the social sector is what we consider the third sector. You have the public sector, the private sector, and then the social sector, or some people call it the non-profit sector, NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and they're definitely a critical sector in every economy. I think that the Nigerian social sector is actually really important for national development and has played a very important role. And so when we think about it, it's a significant sector, but it's still very underdeveloped and relatively unsophisticated, and still a very small sector. So it needs to be a larger sector. Other parts of the world, governments focus on policy and non-profits deliver the service, that subsidized service, and the government funds them. But in our country, we have the reverse, where the government tries to compete with non-profits, and that's why many of the non-profits are operating at a much smaller scale than they should be. And the private sector also now tries to fill in the gap as opposed to saying, let's partner with non-profits. So there's a lot that we can do to ensure that there are more partnerships and more synergies across the board.
Now, the key challenge here is that it's not just foundations that should support, but that the whole network needs to understand that they can't do what the social sector is supposed to do. It's not possible.
What can the social sector do better to make sure that this role that everybody has accepted that they're doing can be done in a better way?
We need more international NGOs operating in Nigeria that are professional, that are ethical, that have strong systems and structures, and are not tied to individuals. The second thing is that I think we need non-profits that have core competencies. Organizations need to figure out their core competencies and stick to them and grow within that framework. What nonprofits need, or the social sector needs, is sustainable sources of funding. And funding is always critical to the social sector, and that's why we need more partnerships from the public, private, and nonprofit space. Because if we don't have sustainable sources of funding, you find that many organizations offer what we call projects. They say, well, we have a project this year, and it's not sustained. What we need are programs that will survive the test of time.
I think it's also important to have that understanding in government, and then probably also a framework for collaboration of our assessment to really see those who have the capacity and those that you can work with on an ongoing basis.
We are talking now about those in the sector who already have a passion but don't know how to take their passion to the next level. So these are the people we're talking about. If you are an entrepreneur, then you must see yourself as such. If your NGO should outlive you, then it should have a structure, it should have plan for succession, it should have what it needs to have. And then you should get the respect of both the public sector and the private sector.
I've been engaging with my board to say, listen, we need to think about the successor generation. We need to begin to mentor them, prepare them to take over leadership. Because if we're telling government or political parties to entrench internal democracy, we must figure a way to create a succession program even within our own groups.
If you have a contribution, you're welcome to stand up and contribute.
If you are building the next generation, now, and you just go there to do that with them, then what happens to the teachers who actually stays with them every day, and they actually imbibe these cultures?
In terms of LEAPS programs, what I mentioned is that our LEC program actually trains teachers. They then in turn train their students.
My question is, if these so-called leaders who will come up next, what if they don't do what they promise? what would you put in place? Just like the way you're saying, monetary evaluation, but I want to go a step further. Is there any way to vote them out of power? Is there anything we can do to change the citizen with the perception or the concept of our citizens?
Yes, punitive measures for erring leaders. Again, for me, it comes down to leadership and followership as shared responsibility. You must understand that you have a responsibility to yourself and to our country. And that each time you will sit back and not challenge brigandage or criminality or complete abdication of government responsibility, you are as guilty.